guys, that's your Racial Legends. Welcome to the video. I am not alone today. I'm joined by the great Nubs. Nub Raids. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm really good. I'm really good. You know, the sun is shining here in Ireland. It's a good day and always good to be on the channel.
Yeah, you got a little tan there. Yeah, I'm looking pretty pasty comparatively, my friend. But how's life, dude? It's been a hot minute since we had you on.
It's good. It's really good. For anyone who's been following my channel, like, you know, I got a new puppy, so she's been making a few appearances on the live streams and whatnot. She's almost 4 months old. So this week, again, great. It's been sunny because her vaccines are fully kicked in, so she's now allowed outside. So it's been going outside, meeting other people, meeting other dogs, and everything is exciting. You know, everything in the world is new. So it's
I
really
love that,
time.
man. Congratulations. What breed?
She's a golden retriever.
Oh, yes. I already knew that, but I asked for the audience. Awesome, man. That's good. How was the trip to Poland? For the trivia dungeon? You were there.
Yeah.
That's your second time, like, in a big event. How was it?
Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, this time was so much less stress for me, right? Because last year...
Yeah, you weren't hosting
Yeah, like last year with the award show, you know, there was like a script. I had to learn off like the lines for the skits and stuff. And it was all on a lot of it was all on me as well. Like a lot of the skits some of them were solo pieces where it's just me. We're talking on the phone to Death Knight, you know?
Yeah, dude.
This year,
You did well. You did very well with that, though. Yeah.
this year was way more chill because hanging out with the guys was just really fun. We're just having banter and some behind the scenes stuff. Like at the start, they're kind of like, maybe we need to like give you guys some answers if it's too hard, and like, you know, we have to do a few takes, and we're like, no, let us loose. Just let us loose. We got this. And I think we nailed everything like pretty much first take. I think there was a couple of small bits that need to be reshot, but they switched up the questions every time and stuff like that too. So
that's awesome, man.
It all ended up being like really natural, and it's like, oh, we don't need to learn. It's like we just got to play a game show with my friends, basically. It's great. So
did you win? Because by the time this goes live, it's gonna be already out. But you don't have to say it if you don't want me to know. How do you feel about your performance? Let me ask you that. How do you feel about your performance?
It was good. It was good. Actually, one little behind the scenes sneaky teaser was one of the parts I said we had to reshoot was. I had like this general trivia section, like not raid stuff. And so we went and we did it and I got everything right. And they were like, okay, no, that makes for really bad television if you get absolutely everything right. So they're like, okay, we're reshooting it, get some harder questions in there. So we had to reshoot that a bit and switch it up because they're like...
That is the lamest reshoot ever, bro. I would have been like, okay, I would have gone along with it. But internally I'd be like, no, I got everything right. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway.
Yeah, but they were like, okay, we want you to get like, you know, it would be perfect if you could get like 6 right. If you could count that, you know, and keep track, that'd be perfect. And I was like, I've got to answer these trivia questions.
17, take 6. Mark. Who sneezed? Who the fuck sneezed?
Typical Plarium, man. All right, well,
not looking like an idiot on camera and trying to be counting in my head. So of course I started answering questions. And I completely forgot about any concept of counting or tracking answers. Right? I was just playing the game shows. That was funny.
Well, congrats, guys. You can check out Trivia Dungeon, the creator special, whatever it is, community special event. I'll link it for you guys in case you missed it in the description of this video. But today we're here to talk about Chimera because why not? We have the Clan Boss Guru here on, and this is a very opportune time to have you on. I reached out to you because you have now the tier list live for all the champions. We're gonna take a look at all the best, the highly ranked, I should say, champions in the game for Chimera. The cool thing is you have them, well, I don't want to, we'll just check out the cool thing ourselves. Before we jump into it though, Nubs, I want to ask, what team are you using? We talked about this a little bit off air. I'm showing my team in the background, but like, it's weird. Unlike Hydra, like you just basically with this, at least for me, you kind of make one team and you pretty much just set it and forget. Like you don't change it a lot, right? I've been using this team for a while and I haven't changed anything about it. What about you? Who do you use?
Yeah, 100% the exact same. So for me, Lydia, Cornerstone, of course, opens up so many trials. I think out of interest, we haven't like a new trial score, which is how many trials champions can interact with. I'm pretty sure Lydia is literally the top champion. She covers the most trials of anyone.
That's what I was going to mention, the trial score. But yeah, okay, you beat me to it. Yeah, that's really cool. So Lydia is the best trial champion in the game.
Yeah, possibly some of the mythicals. Because one quirk of how the website works is that the mythicals, because they're so different in the forms, the two forms are graded separately. So possibly some mythicals are certainly very close, and they are a lot of the top champs I'm sure we're going to mention. But Lydia, she's on like another level. Anyway, I use Lydia. I have Alpha to keep me alive, heal me up, revive me. I use Ninja with Lady Mikage for damage.
Yep. And
then I use Nekmothar. And I actually started switching. I have an Affinity Breaker set saved up and built for him. I actually had some problems, man. I don't know if you use RSL Helper or Cell Files. I do sometimes every month or so for managing my gear because it's just constantly overflowing.
I don't. I just use Hell Hades Optimizer, but apparently is that not enough? Are you allowed to say?
Well, I mean, you can use that as well. Yeah, you can use all sorts of different things. Like I was using like an end game.
What does RSL give you that Hades doesn't?
So with that one, I was mostly just using it for just sorting the artifacts, and one thing I like about it is that you have like a couple of friends in the community, like Panda, Lil Gaming, and they actually like make customized sell lists for the artifacts, so it can be really detailed and quick. But of course, I think I used the Panda one, and it was set to like auto sell all Affinity Breaker. So I went into, no one really used it end game. I went in to build my Necmo and Affinity Breaker, and I went, where's my Affinity Breaker gone? This was a good while ago. I don't know if it's still like that anymore. I haven't used it in a bit, but yeah, that was the thing.
I gotcha. So pretty cool team. I use the turn meter Androx Senna team. I'm sure you're familiar with Mikage and Toshiro, but it's like I don't have a ton of it. And I mean, I'm hitting like, how many trials are you hitting?
I think my team can do maybe 14, 15 or so.
That's crazy. So you go for trials. I hit 9 or 10, or 8 to 10, I should say, like 8 on the low end, 10 on the high, depending on how orange or lucky I get, or careful I am, I should say. So you go for, would you recommend going, like, what is your clan mentality in terms of, like, do you encourage people go for Chimera Clash over trials, or you don't care, or how do you guys run things?
I think in my clan, generally they leave it up to people, and then they'll usually call for it. Our clan is super organized, so it'll be like,
I know, that's why I asked.
So our clan for every game mode tracks the scores of what every clan can do, so we'll know, this week in Chimera Clash we're up against really tough clans, you have to maximize the clash score, or then other weeks it's like, this one's actually fairly chill, try get a little bit of a lower clash score, focus on grabbing your trials and then get out quickly. So
that's smart.
The rest it varies. Yeah, it's very hardcore.
This is a dumb question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
One thing that's interesting that a couple of guys in my clan are doing now, and probably some higher end clans, I don't know if you see it in your clan yet, is that for teams that can do huge amounts of trials, you get a good bit more mythical crafting stuff, relic pieces, from just doing Ultra Nightmare twice. So instead of doing Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, they just do Ultra Nightmare twice to get the most crafting materials for the relics. You lose out on a lot of the molten chicken nuggets, whatever they're called. From the deck. But if you got enough Starstone, though.
But don't you miss out on the chest at the end? You don't get like extra chests,
Yeah, you miss out on the chest. So there occasionally
you miss out on the chance for the basalt.
There's gems sometimes, and the Starstone is a big one, but I think if you've got like crazy teams, it can work out better. So I've seen a couple of people do it, not many. It won't affect 99.999% of people, but it's definitely, I think, a bit of a concern. Once you got Empress, especially, like the chest starts to lose a bit of value. It's a bit of a concern, I think.
My whole thing though is the basalt, right? Like I am so after. I mean, whatever. I want to get into the champions here, but I'd think that I really wish they gave 3-star basalt here. Like that to me is the most, even if it's a super rare drop. Like I'm not saying it has to be guaranteed, but like golly, man. I mean, on the clash chest, that is, Anyway, so like on the drop info, so you have even the 3 on the ultimate chest. Like give us the basalt, the 3-star, the rank 3s, man. Do you know? Do you have a maxed? You don't have a maxed relic, do you?
No, I've got a few at 12, but nothing at 15 yet. Or
I saw,
18 even?
you know, Tyraku?
No.
You know Tyraku, the content creator? I saw he was just doing a casual video, and I saw him with a maxed out freaking mythical or legendary relic, and I'm like, what, bro?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Just casually, he just threw it up there on the screen. I'm like, what? Anyway, so you have the ranking up here. Let's talk about some of these champions. Actually, did you... I mean, I think the answer is yes, but like, do you even bother ranking the rares? Are there any rare standouts that you want to... apparently there are here. Let me filter. But like, yeah, like let's start by talking about some rares. Who are some of your favorite rares for Chimera?
Yeah, there's not too many. I'll call out some. Like the rares, this is mostly for more obviously early game players. You know, anyone that's any further into the game, you know, epics, legendaries, and obviously mythicals are just better. Cold Heart, I think, is way up there. Reliquary Tender is high up as well. You know, Cold Heart is just convenient. She does a lot of damage and it's easy to do, and you're obviously going to have her built up for other stuff as well. Reliquary Tender, a revive against Ram form. It's not a very good revive, but it's helpful, and she can also remove all the debuffs, and there's some nasty debuffs in like ultimate form. Even the lion form can be spreading some nasty debuffs. The viper form, of course, can be really brutal. And then some of the classics, Apothecary, he's just a staple. Yeah, and so on. But most of the rare, like generally speaking, you don't really want to use rares for it, but obviously, you know, just the generally good rares that everyone knows and loves, loves are gonna be kind of helpful. And you know, maybe some of them like Knot has a 2.5, maybe Knot could be a little bit higher. Tree Shield Knot, I quite like him.
Yeah, I think that you guys, now that I have you on the line, I can actually address you in person. I think that you're kind of too far down on Tree Shield Knot in general, man. I think you need to update that rare.
Okay, I'll make a note.
Make it a priority, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'll run it by YST. I mean, I do have the power to just sneak in and cheekily change the rating, but no, we'll do it properly. I'll run it by YST.
You, YST, and Saf, or do you like basically, are all three of you involved in the rating process on the Hell Hades tier list, or who's the final say on a rating?
YST would usually be, he's the main one who does the ratings, and then I help him out with some of them. In this case, for this particular tier list, we both went through like together and we bounced some ideas off, and you know, like there's definitely a few champions where I'll be like, he's a 3.5, and YST be like, no, he's a 4, I really like him, or no, he sucks, or I'd be like, no, YST.
I like that, man.
Great. So there's a bit of a debate, and that's part of the fun as well.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
You should record that, bro. That would be golden content. Like,
yeah,
you know, you guys debating the ranks to put on the website, you know?
I've thought about that, or something that I think could be kind of fun at some point as well is like, you know, a little change log and like why we change stuff. That might be cool for people. Be like, oh
yeah, that would be really cool too.
We marked Tree Shield Knot up. He's actually a great rare, you know, with the revive and blah blah blah. That could be quite fun and helpful to players. So
yeah, you could have like little update videos, like kind of like they do balancing in game. You could be like, we balanced 10 rankings this month, you know.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, as you can see, you know, we have Chimera up there. Relics are hopefully coming really soon as well. Like there's been we started doing infographics. That's one of the things I was working on. Is we made a champ infographic for Udex Artor. That was a recent one, and there's going to be lots more in the future. People really liked it.
Yeah,
so
great.
Like
I saw that.
There's a lot of work behind the scenes going into the website at the moment. So yeah, any idea? Like we'll see. There's so many ideas bouncing around, but it's a ton of fun. Obviously, working on this stuff and seeing it come through. Yeah.
I love it, man. You guys, I mean, it's the best resource out there by far. So it's massive, like beyond massive. Shout out to you guys. You have 8 rares ranked above a 3: Steel Bowyer, Kurzar Deepheart, Dilgal, Frozen Banshee, Bellower, Apothecary, Reliquary Tender, and Cold Heart. Seems about right. Let's move on to the epics. More exciting stuff here, right?
Yeah.
Epics. Let's filter that out and tell me a little bit. Do you feel like there is, as I get the filter up, do you feel like there are any epics that are like head and shoulders above the rest? Like you can put them on the same category as legendaries. Clearly you can see from the scores here a few ideas, but talk to me a little bit about them.
100%. So, I mean, the big one, he is the highest rated. He's the only one at 4.5.
Yeah, the only one.
before the call, behind the scenes, like you're like, Nub, why is there no epics? It's because you're trying to look for the fives and nothing.
I know.
Like a five. But I mean, it's tough, right? Is any epic
like this filter's not working? There's no. Gotcha.
On the level of like Senna or Marius? Realistically, no. Farrakhan is the closest. I think Farrakhan is actually amazing for this, just because he does so many trials. So if you consider, I use Lady Mikage. Now she brings a lot of extra damage with her A1 pulling in for you to Shiro or for me Ninja, and she also makes the run quite a bit easier by extending buffs. That's a real comfort thing. Farrakhan though, he also brings the ally attack, which is a bunch of trials. He brings increased crit rate, crit damage, which is a trial as well. But he also brings burn. He brings some poisons. He brings a decreased defense A1. This dude actually covers so many trials. It's actually kind of nuts. So he's an amazing potential budget option for teams looking to squeeze in a couple extra trials. Like if I drop Ninja from my team for Toshiro, I would lose burn, and that cuts off like a Viper trial and like a bit of I think there's a chain of trials that would cut off some of them. And Farrakhan could actually help there, for instance. So he's a pretty cool one. I know there's even a few people in end game clans that are using Farrakhan just to do more trials, which is crazy. So we're talking about players with like a bunch of mythicals and everything, and he's coming in. So yeah, he's
that's great.
Huge.
It's a great shout. I think he's very well deserving, to your point, because he's great for trials and he's great for just in general, right? And then you have Whisper, no surprise there, like insane damage, right?
Yep.
Geomancer, Royal Guard, Fenax, Stag Knight, Inquisitor, Shamil. I'll pause for a moment here because there's a lot of fours. Any of them stick out? Any of them like you're their #1 fan type category here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty big fan of Phoenix. You know, it's been said.
I mean, you're him basically, right?
But
they do pay you a royalty every time someone pulls a Fenax, right?
Yeah.
You say Phoenix. I guess is that correct? I mean, I'm going to go by whatever you say.
I don't know. It's always interesting. You know, one of my favorite things is because obviously when I was over again recording the show over in Warsaw, you know, we get to meet some of the guys behind the scenes, but like chatting to some of the guys that like write the lore and write the names of the characters, and there's so much that goes into it, you know.
I'm very proud of myself.
Like for example, when I was on my trip to Japan or watching Shogun, the show recently, like I even played Assassin's Creed Shadows, and like one of the big characters from Japanese history is Tokugawa Ieyasu, and we've got the character in game Onryo Ieyasu, and Onryo is a ghost, so he's like the ghost of this famous shogun, and like that's where the name came from, the inspiration.
That's cool.
But there's so many characters, I'm sure we get the names wrong. Like I don't know if you remember watching the Call of the Arbiter for the first time, and they're like, and here is Kyle, and you're like,
I know, dude.
Kyle, excuse me, I thought it was Kale, man. I thought it was my leafy green.
Sometimes like that one was so ridiculous that I was just like, dude.
Yeah. I think they changed it.
The narrators got it wrong. The narrators got it wrong.
I think in a recent video, I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure I heard them in a recent video go back to calling him Kale. I think just because people were saying that. I don't know. I feel like I remember that. Maybe it was a fever dream. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, Phoenix or Fenax, he's amazing. Brings some nice debuffs unreliably, but he has them if you need them. But he scales really well with champions like Mad Hatter or Teox, like these ally attack champs. His A1 is so strong. And like Mad Hatter, great example, recent fusion. The more debuffs you have, the more he boosts that A1 damage. So like these strong A1 champions with the right setup now is something that's so much more powerful than it was like even last year. Like it's really skyrocketing in value. So he's a big one that can be really powerful for damage.
Great call out there. I love Fenax, man. Usually I think of him as an arena champion, but you're right. You know, like with that A3 with the debuffs too, very nice. What do you think about unlike Royal Guard, and I don't know where you have Husk ranked here, but like, what do you think about the enemy max HP epics? For Chimera?
They're decent. They're a good accessible option, right? Like with the Fenax or Phoenix thing I mentioned, you need really good gear to make it work. Whereas Royal Guard, he brings actually decreased speed, he brings decreased defense and some good damage, and he's easy to do damage, so that's pretty handy. Geomancer, El Clasico, just really handy for keeping you alive and also doing free damage back. They don't have the same I mean, this tier list is meant for all players, it's not just end game, it's not just new, it's trying to cover as many people as possible. So the ratings have to take that into account, which is a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
But like, Geomancer is like really, really easy, safe damage, which is what you want.
Never let you down. I wanted to ask you a little bit about...
Bowyer got a high ranking, for instance, for having enemy max. She has enemy max HP. It's not very good, but I mean, she can do it. So
who did? I'm sorry?
I haven't seen anyone use her, but we were like, huh, when we ran some damage calculations, she actually came out as doing pretty good damage. So
who did?
Like, that was
by the way, what was the name? What was the name?
Steel Bowyer. She was one of the rares that got a high ranking because she's got enemy max HP. And yeah, like we used a few different calculations and some AI stuff to like sort champions. For example, like figuring out the Chimera trials. You know, we didn't sit down. Obviously, imagine doing it for 900, 800 champions, and being like, let's count how many Chimera trials they do. I mean, we just get it wrong, frankly. There's too many. So that was where Saf was able to build a system that would just automate all of that, which is really, really cool. Awesome. Same with the Cursed City stages, which is, again, so sick for getting a vibe, because no one is going to be tracking all 6 rotations of Cursed City and counting what are all the different conditions and know intuitively what a champion can do. It's way too much. But, you know, having a system that can do it and be like, this champion is viable for 56 different stages in Cursed City, and you go, oh, that's actually a lot. Like, great, that's handy. That's a really useful thing. So
I love it. I wanted to ask you before we move on to legendaries, we have a lot of like off meta choices here, right? Some like, lesser known champions like Ragnar. I'll mention a few of them that catch my eye, and feel free to like dive into one that interests you or whatever. But like we have Gwyneth, Alika, Sawai, Ragnar. What about Naina? Any of those that you want to chalk on briefly?
100%. Ragnar, that's a YST special, but Ragnar does bring in decent damage, but he brings like decreased defense, weaken, and leech. Like, it's a good core kit. I think Alika actually can pump out quite a bit of damage on her 8. Like, she's kind of known for her,
I shouldn't have mentioned her.
Increasing skill cooldowns though, AoE, but then her A2 is like a 2-turn cooldown and actually hits really hard, so she can do good damage. I forgot one of the ones you mentioned, but that was another champ.
Aina, Gwyneth.
Gwyneth, yeah. So Gwyneth, I didn't actually know about this one. I've not used her much, but she can actually hit really hard on some of her moves as well. Again, her damage potential is surprisingly high for like one-shot it, like just big smacks. It's one of them scales up, I think, ignore defense for the more debuffs they have, and you can stack a lot on Chimera. So yeah, that's for what's happening there. And she brings the weekend, can heal you a bit. It's pretty cool.
I like that. Might be my next video. I don't know. You give me good ideas here on Gwyneth. I use Gwyneth in one area and one area only, and that is like a random Cintrano Soul Cross stage that doesn't trigger counterattacks from Ataris and Marichka on the first wave.
There you go. I remember. I know that stage. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, she's good there.
Very good there. She's farmable too in Doom Tower.
Exactly.
Cool. And you got my man Siege Hulk in there. I love seeing Siege Hulk that high.
He's so good. Yeah, he's a great champ. Just solid. I love him. He's really, really good. Yeah. So he came out pretty well, actually. Yeah.
All right. Legendary time. Let me legendaries, obviously there's quite a few. Quite a few.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is where things come to me, at least. It's where, okay, how do we juggle trials versus damage, you know? So I'm sure that was a consideration here, but you still have, that being said, you probably have about 20 to 25 5-stars and no 5-star rankings in epics and rares. So I want to kind of focus on the best of the best. And so there's a lot of them. There's Fina, Chalco, Lamasu, Teox, Yinseska, Grailbraid, Glaciad, Senna, Elva, Necmo, Tuanarok, Ninja, Rio, Harima, Tetsuya, who I definitely want to talk about, Marius, Feral, Newt, Acrizia, Lydia, and Krisk. I'll let you start, my friend. Any of those that you just think are like a lot of them are obvious, right? And you know, like Necmo for the trials, the turn meter boost of a Senna, or the damage boost and the debuffs of a Feral in the trials, or Marius. Anybody like beyond them that you think is worth a little combo here, a little focus?
Yeah, I mean, it is really interesting going back to that question you had as well of like trials versus damage. So like, I mean, we saw it with your team versus mine. I'm sure your team blows mine out of the water in terms of damage with the Senna. Senna's insane for damage. Like, she's almost a 5.5 star or a 6 star. Like, it's crazy. But she's not so good for trials, and you know, it is a challenge when you're trying to give a unified rating to cover champs that are good for trials, and or are they good for damage, or what do we do? So, you know, there's sort of a balancing act that's going on with all of that sort of stuff as well. Or like, you know, one interesting thing we ran into was when we were running like some damage simulations and stuff, was that you know, we were trying to grade like, oh, what are the top 10% of damage dealers, and we'll go off of that. But it came out with stuff like Marius and like Grazur and like Royal Guard were all getting like top rankings just because they could do enemy max HP, and it's like, oh, that's not right, because Marius triple hits. It's like so much more damage. So that we had to go back to the drawing board a bit on some of that stuff. But yeah, like the broad goal is to, like, if you get these champs that are really strong. I mean, one that I would definitely draw attention to, a few champs that were kind of a big debate, actually. It's a bit of a problem where champions who are like Lydia, so Riho, the Calamitous base form, even Ramantu as well. These are champs that bring loads of debuffs all in one kit. I mean, Riho is the best example. So many debuffs. It's insanely good. And she also brings the healing and the cleansing and block debuffs. It's amazing. But like the tricky thing there is it's really tough to use a Riho when you've got Lydia, who brings you the fear and the block active skills, which opens up trials. Fitting her into a team comp isn't necessarily easy. But she has that crazy potential. And yeah, it's one of those tricky things. You know, that's something they could easily bring out a champion that combos at Riho, and suddenly she's way better than, you know, she shows up in more of the top teams than Lydia overall. But yeah, like that's one of the balancing acts with this for sure. That's just a bit tricky. But yeah, I mean, were there anything here that surprised you? I know for me, Tetsuya is a big question mark, I will say. Yes. There's not much data on Tetsuya and what he could do. So yeah, I mean, I've pulled him actually now, but I don't have a good soul and I don't have a good relic on him.
That's the problem, right?
Like, yeah, it's tricky. Yeah,
it's tricky when because I got Shalco, right? And
yeah.
I love that little bug, you know, like super cool kit, very unique, very good. But I don't have a soul or empowerment, and just like I'm struggling to get him to be value over replacement. And that's kind of like, in a weird way, like there's more customization than ever in the game right now. But also in a weird way, it's like you pull the champion, that's half the battle, you know? Like you got a lot of work 100%. To do, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a kind of a problem in the game. It's like, instead of souls being like a fun thing that makes your champ stronger, now the soul is almost a tax you have to pay to make your champ usable compared to your other ones. It's a big, especially damage, it's brutal. Yeah, so it's a big problem, you know? And it's a problem, I think, with fusions as well. Like with the current guy, Ishiyama, I'm like, oh, he's pretty decent, but, you know, is pretty decent good enough when then you've not only got to do the whole fusion for him, but because he's a damage dealer, you really want the soul for him to even feel good at all. Like, it's so much for a champ that's good, but not OP, just good. That's Raid 2025, man. A lot of systems.
Indeed.
A lot of power creep.
Yeah, I would love for them to have some sort of a solution here, but I'm not holding my breath. But no one actually catches me. I wanted to say, by the way, really quickly, like if you click on the champions profiles, I was showing you guys in the background, I'm sure you saw, viewers, but it's so cool how you have the Centrano's hard stages and the Chimera trials on every champion's screen now. Like, that's awesome. So you can get a sense of like what they're bringing to the table in terms of trial potential as well. No one really surprises me. Like, I guess maybe Yenseska. Not to say I'm like I love Yenseska, but like I think she's really good. But like having her as a perfect 5 is like, I don't disagree per se, but like just a name I wasn't 100% expecting. But for the most part, you know, no huge. I'm trying to look at the 4.5s and see if there's anybody that I'm like, ooh, that's interesting.
One bug we had, I think it is fixed now. One bug we had was with the Mythicals, definitely, that it actually combined like their scores. So loads of the Mythicals got really high ratings that shouldn't, because they were like for example, Lazarius base form is potentially rated at like 0.5 too high, but I think he is a 5 right now. Maybe he should be 4.5. That one is a bit of a question, but I think it put his alternate form up at a 5 as well. I remember I looked at the tier list when it went live and I went, hang on, we definitely were not like so off our heads tired that we put Lazarius alternate form as a 5 out of 5. That's so far off correct. And then I looked into it and I was like, oh god, yeah. And there was a few champs that got zeros and stuff, but I think that's all fixed now. It has been on the back end so long as it takes a little while for it to be updated in like the cache for the website and
I got you.
Technical dev stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works at all. That's not my job.
Work in progress for sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
You have, I think the one that definitely struck me as interesting is Tomb Lord at a 4.5. Tomb Lord.
Yeah.
He's just like, I just never thought of him. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I've done a lot of like top champions for Chimera.
Right.
I'm not saying I disagree, but he's got the triple hitter, the decreased speed if it's critical, the poisons, and the decreased attack and the decreased defense. I mean, obviously he brings quite a bit. I can't believe they buffed him a while back. Like it was a weird buff. But
yeah. Like he brings a decent amount. I mean, like I could totally see an argument for he should be just a 4. Yeah, I mean, he sort of treads that line.
Blame YST on that one then.
Your thoughts? What?
It's like sort of core utility. Like we were ranking the core, probably, you know, considering decreased defense, decreased attack, decreased speed, definitely as being very high priority, and then some other stuff that's more niche, not as high. The poisons are an interesting one. Obviously, that's a really difficult trial to do, that Viper one.
Yeah.
You kind of need a poisoner like him to do it, so that brings some value. But then again, that it's one of those things where a bunch of the trials are just overtuned, and you need such crazy teams to do them.
Yep.
Like I think some people can actually manage just about with like the Vulcanen's Grasp Relic, where your block damage reflects extra damage. I think with a Laz, they can pull off the reflect damage trial, but it's like, man, for 99% of people, like that's such a out of reach trial. It's weird. Like, it's weird.
I feel like I need to focus more on trials. I just always have it like I want to win Chimera Clash so much, and I want to clan down, you know, that I feel like I just need to min-max my damage. But I mean, I care a lot about relics. I go for every event possible to get relics, so like I should probably balance it a little bit more. But Claydna is another one that actually I think is a great shout out. You have her ranked very high at 4.5. But they give her a really good buff. Talk a little bit about Claydna.
Yeah, she's such an interesting champ. I expect she's probably going to be really good for Faction Wars Hard as well.
Yeah.
So this is one where neither of us have her, so we couldn't like test it in detail. But one cool thing that's cool, like her passive is actually kind of sick for keeping people alive against the Ram form, or any form, I suppose.
Yep.
But that chance to completely block the first hit of an attack, like if that happens against Ram, he shouldn't repeat the attack. I think he should just stop it, so you can just save someone, which is crazy. And then the full cleanse with block debuffs, revive on death, can keep you alive, decrease speed leech. They're just sort of core debuffs. So she's got huge potential. It was one question that I had going through this that, you know, it's still not fully resolved for me, but you kind of really need a reviver, but you also kind of want someone to heal as well. So it becomes kind of awkward when you've got someone like Claydna. I was like, okay, she can bring loads of healing and revive on death. Is that going to be enough, or do you need the reviver as well? Or let's say someone like Duchess, she brings you the revive and damage mitigation, but like 0 healing pretty much. Is that enough? And that's one of the challenging things with Chimera, where you've only got the 5-person team compared to, let's say, Hydra, where you've got an extra slot to squeeze in that extra bit of utility. So that's definitely like one of the challenges for raiding champions. Or like one champ that has impressed me as well, Black Tusk, Admiral Black Tusk.
Oh, I love that dude. I mean, I don't have him, but I love him.
Yeah, like he was a guy I was like, on paper, this guy could be really good, but I was like, I'm not sure how he actually works in practice. And again, it's so hard to get information. But then I actually did get info from like one of my viewers that was actually like running him in a pure dwarf team with like, I think Senna, and I don't remember if Newt was in there, or Krizia definitely was, and like crazy damage and great trials and stuff. I was like, oh man, okay, Black Tusk actually pulling it out. That's sick. That's cool to see.
He's a really cool. Even the reason I like, you know, these unities, man. Like I like a unity that really doesn't require you to use more than one. You know, faction to be really good still. You know, like, and I feel like Admiral has that. You know, even this A2 alone is like really powerful. So that's cool to hear that you had good experience. Your viewer had a good experience with him as well. I think that like going back to, well, it doesn't have to be Claydna, but I think that I've never heard nobody ask for this ever, but I think that Revive on Death needs a buff. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Because like sometimes when I get Revive on, like there's one of my favorite mythicals in the game is Mezimel, right? I love Mezimel. And she has if she kills an enemy, she places a revive on death on herself.
Yeah.
And like, whenever she gets revived with a revive on death, I'm like, I just wanted to revive her, like with some turn meter. Like I have revivers, I'm good. Everybody's a reviver nowadays in the game. I don't want the revive on death, like, you know, like more often than not, I've noticed that. So I feel like we need some turn meter or something on the revive on death, you know?
Yeah, bit more health, bit of turn
Yeah,
meter.
something.
It could be 50%, 50%, and like that's not crazy. It's good. It's not crazy though compared to modern game.
Yeah, revive on death. Give me like a, I don't know, 75-75 or something. I don't know.
Oh, that's a lot.
I don't know, or buff or something, you know?
Yeah, you know what? You ask for 75-75, and they'll be like, "That's crazy, man. We'll give you 50-50, and then we're happy enough."
We're done. Yeah, right. Or give a little, maybe a shield. It comes with a shield based on 50% of the champion's max HP or something. You know, look at something. I don't know. You know,
something. Yeah.
I digress. Let's go to the mythicals, man. Let's end this with the mythicals.
It's the best part.
Mythicals. First of all, do you think that the cock is going to be good after his buff?
Oh yes, I think he's gonna. Let me actually think. I haven't thought about Chimera. He's gonna be a great champ in general.
I think so too.
But will he be good for Chimera?
Let's think about it.
He might be. Yeah. I mean, his base form is actually fairly decent. It's gonna be giving you quite a few defensive buffs, which is nice. But the constant AOE's, not AOE's, the counter attacks can do pretty decent damage. It can add up. So I mean, for a lot of players, he might be great. Will he make it into top end teams? I don't know. That's something like for the top end stuff. Like I personally prefer to have more hard data to go off of as much as possible. It gives you the best stuff. You know, it's not. That being said, that's also not the #1 priority of the tier list. Like the goal of our tier lists and ratings and guides is not like, let's help out. You know, the 0.1% of top players in the game. Like, those guys are good. I don't think they really need help. They've got it on lockdown. Like we're trying to help people in general. I think in general, he's probably going to be very solid, and the irresistible decreased defense and just slamming out some damage in his second form is going to be helpful as well.
Yeah.
So I expect he's going to be pretty solid. Yeah. I'm very
excited. He's going to be a lot better,
man.
man. I think the buff was great. Maybe not for a Chimera, like, you know, to shine above some of the others that we'll talk about, but like just in general, I think for Hydra he'll be a hell of a lot better. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about. Who do you think is the best mythical, straight up? If you could only choose one, you're starting an account and you want to focus on Chimera and you get to choose one mythical, who's it going to be?
Oh, that is really
putting you on the hot seat.
That's really tough. I mean, you can make an argument, I think, for almost any of the 5-star guys. I like Alaz is pretty sick, right? Because the interesting thing about Alaz, and there was another champion, I can't remember who it was. There's another champ that's similar. I don't think they're mythical, something else. But with Alaz, you have to wait for the rest of your clan to knock the boss below half health, because then he starts doing his double hit. That's where the damage is. So you got to chill for the first few days, and you come in and you're the king for the end of it.
That's a really good point. Good point.
But he's huge damage, but he also is bringing you in the block damage, so you can deal with the ram form, which is great, the counter attack. And then one thing that is difficult to communicate with the ratings on the site is because we rank the different forms of the champions for mythicals separately. The big one that I want to highlight is R-Base. R-Base, with the two forms combined, is very much a 5 out of 5. I think Alaz is a great comparison. R-Base, you combine the two forms, there's no question she's like the best of the best, 5 out of 5. But neither form on its own is probably a 5 out of 5. Arguably, maybe the second form, but I think 4.5 felt a bit more accurate. But because we don't do the unified ranking, it doesn't come through. Whereas Alaz is so strong in his base form. His alternate form, not as good. Helps you at some trials. It's quite nice. You get the burn for a trial, and you know, the resistance and all that sort of stuff. You get some nice stuff for trials, but it's like you dip into that form for some trials, and then you're kind of good. But because his base form is the 5 of 5, he sort of jumps to the top of the list when you look at just the tier list. Whereas R-Base, who is arguably just as good, you know, she won't jump to the top of the list just because her utility is a bit more spread between the two. But Alaz is good. He's great.
So you still haven't answered me, bro.
What? Sorry.
So who's your pick, bro? Who's your pick?
Maybe Alaz.
Interesting.
Galathier maybe. If I could pick any mythical in the game to have, and none others, I probably would pick Galathier though.
Yeah.
But that being said, some of his value definitely in endgame for sure, like which is me, comes from the Fina combo. If you don't have Fina, Galathier is still really good, but he's not like insanely better, I would say, than you know, like just the Elva I've got is relatively close. You lose out on some trials that Galathier brings you with the form swapping, but his base form is not insanely better than like an Elva. But it's when you put him with Fina and then you unlock Fina's extra turn, and that's massive because then she's resetting your damage dealer way more often, etc. That's what really pushes him to.
I saw this. This is the team I think that you're talking about here. You can't see it, but I'll tell you. But like I saw this team. I'm always curious. I don't know if you do the same, but I always scout the other clans to see what their top players are using to see if I should switch. In this team, they got Fina, Toshiro, Wallmaster, Estrid, Galathier. Is that the squad or something close to that? So they have 3 high elves.
That's quite different, actually. Right? Yeah, that's not one I've seen
before. They got 14
before.
trials, 526 million damage.
That's sick. Yeah, that is really
Shout
sick.
Shout out to Sanmi.
Yeah, that's cool. Respect. Okay. Yeah, no, I've not seen that team before, but
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Galathier plus Fina is like a core for so many of them.
Maybe I should switch.
Doing some crazy. If you can build a full high elf team, even Fina starts going really nuts. Like she gives you so much ignore defense and so much turn meter. He goes real crazy.
Let's think. No, all my viewers have tuned out by now, so then we can just chill. Do we get? Let's make the perfect high elf team. We've got Star Sage, Fina.
Yeah,
I'm assuming Wallmaster is going to be in there. Lana Farrell, maybe. Who else? Who are we thinking here?
Yeah, I mean that it drops off a lot after that.
Right?
Let me bring up high elf.
Tatura, maybe.
Sorry,
I'm trying to think of like ticking some trials. We need some more damage too, though.
Yeah, Bellinor is actually really legit.
Bellinor, yeah.
He brings you decreased defense weaken, and he actually brings you increased crit rate, so you could drop some crit rate.
Yeah.
Maybe Prisma. Prisma's kind of unsung. Gives you the revive.
Prisma, yeah, damn it.
Another ally attack. That could be cool. The one thing I would question with Prisma, Prisma gives you, I think, ignore defense on the ally attack. With Fina, you might actually start overcapping.
Right.
I don't know. Or like Tatora's not bad. He brings some buffs that Fina doesn't have, which is nice, and would probably open up trials. I don't know. Yeah, there's some options.
I just got Strategos Islan for the first time on that account too. I wonder if he'd be any. No, he's pretty redundant. I would say with Fina.
Yeah, he is okay with her in Hydra actually. Cause he can do the provoking unreliably, but he can do it, and some buffs too.
Okay, so Star Sage, Fina, Wallmaster, Bellinor, and we'll say I feel like we need a little bit more DPS. Maybe we just I don't know. All right. We're done with that. All right. So you would go with Star Sage or Alaz would be your choices.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think both of us use Mikage. She's so comfortable, right? She makes the Shadowkin DPS go crazy, and the buff extension just makes it like, for me, I've got Elva and 9-piece protection. You just extend that protected block debuffs and protected increased speed. You extend the continuous heals and the veils, and it's subtle, but it makes, and extending even the debuffs because the Chimera is pretty fast.
It's
extending
amazing.
all that stuff.
Yeah,
it makes it so
to
comfy.
hit those trials. It's so easy to keep those up there. And I use Mikage on my team as my weekend champion, which isn't ideal because I got to get out of the base form.
Yeah.
But it's nice too because I have her in the Reflex Merciless 4-piece. So, you know, I'll go in there. Sometimes I can even reapply to get the increased accuracy for trials before I switch back. And then I switch back. I go into Silken Snare if I need to. Sometimes with Senna, I don't even need to because of or with Androck rather, because of the turn meter fill on the ally attack. But I can go in and extend the weekend so I never have to switch back on that form, you know, with the Silken Snare. And then you add the synergy between Ninja and Toshiro and every other like hard-hitting AoE on the or hard-hitting attack, I should say, on A1s with her A1. Man, it's hard not to go Mikage, but no one would pick Mikage because she's, you know, a fusion, you know? Yeah. So you have Siegfried alternate form, but that's just so hard to, you know.
That was fun to rank because Siegfried's base form is not really that good, and that's the problem, right? Is you can't get into its alternate form.
Yeah.
If you do get it, that alternate form is actually insane. So that's sort of a quirk of the rankings, you know.
I suppose you could just on round six you could just Rage of Nephilim into the Ram, right, and then switch forms and never switch back.
Yeah, I think if you Rage of Nephilim, I think he just dies. I think if he dies from reflect damage, it doesn't trigger his passive, so he just dies.
Golly.
So he's
no way
he's
to
really
dependably
awkward.
Get him.
If you ever did get into his alternate form, I mean, you get a team revive with 2 turns of block damage. Like for the Ram form, he's got the full cleanse with block debuffs and a huge heal. He takes less damage. He's actually insanely good as a reviver for keeping your team alive. And but his base form is just not that great. So it's one of those things where, again, overall, the champion is he's good, but not crazy. But it's the alternate form, which is particularly good. But
give us another.
Maybe you'll nerf him. Maybe I should have rated him lower. But I was like, this alternate form is actually legit, and seeing we're rating them differently, it should be high. The base form is his pitfall for this.
Give us another shout out, maybe one of the 4.5s or whatever. You know,
Sure.
another mythical that you're personally a fan of in Chimera.
There's a few. There's definitely a few. You know, Theodosia, let me talk about
her. You mentioned
her alternate form. She's one of those, again, that might well be that 5 out of 5 with the both forms. Her base form is like real good, right, for just keeping you alive, but it doesn't have the block debuffs or, you know, other nice stuff that kind of pushes her to the level, perhaps, of some of the others. I don't know if she can keep your team alive as well as a Galathier or Elva or whatever, or Senna. You know, it's not quite there, but her alternate form is sick. Where you do more damage based on the target's turn meter with her passive. That alone is insane, right? That's a huge independent damage multiplier. And then she's got the decreased speed, the block buffs, and decreased defense that are protected. Like, that's super handy as well. Like, you've got the Viper form, you know, which can throw debuffs back at you. She can stop that potentially. And yeah, she can destroy the boss's speed as well, which is kind of cool. So there's a lot of potential with that alternate form just from that passive damage boost. It's kind of nuts.
I really like Theodosia. You know, I don't have her, but she's like, I don't know, maybe it's just like the aesthetics as well. Like, just a really cool looking. You know what I do have? I have a 6-star Perfect Soul just chilling for one day if I ever get her, you know?
That's insane.
Do you have any of those?
That's so good because she loves speed so much as well.
Right? Do you have any of those?
That extra speed is so big for her. I'll call out a couple more ones quickly. One that people will get, Carnage, alternate form. He's actually a really strong damage dealer. Really strong. He does so much. So he's definitely one to watch for, particularly when you get the gemstone. It's a mythical gemstone, if you're lucky enough to get it, that makes your counterattacks hit harder. And he counterattacks, like, he'll basically counterattack on every boss attack against Chimera because it scales up the chance based off debuff.
That's a good call out. So
that has. I don't know if you've ever fought a Carnage who has that gemstone in live arena, and you're like, this Carnage is ripping me apart with these counterattacks.
Do you know what gemstone or what shape it is by any chance?
It's the triangle, and it was bugged before where it wouldn't stack. It now officially, as of I don't know, last patch I think, it does stack. So you can run 2 of them. If you got 2 of these mythical gemstones, he can do 100% more damage on his counterattacks, which is going to be absurd. So he's one to watch for the future for everyone.
Okay, I like that.
So he's potentially really cool. And let me see. I think Ashnar is again just worth calling out too. Just in general, he's pretty sick, and for lots of the clan bosses after his buff. Because he actually gives your whole team a damage boost in his base form because he can put burns on your team. So you might be thinking, oh, every burn placed by this champ is, you know, giving us more damage. That's not great. There's only one boss. But he burns your team too, so he can actually give you like 15, more than that, 18% damage, right? Because there's
pretty
5
sick.
of you.
Yeah.
So 18% damage boost is pretty sick, and he can be a pretty great damage dealer in his base form as well. He's particularly good for Hydra. He's actually super strong there. Really strong. One of the best damage dealers now. And I think he might have some potential again in the future in Chimera again as teams develop, because you know, again, all these mythicals have really big potential because they do so much stuff.
Right.
Which helps you do trials. So yeah, he's pretty sick. I like him a lot. I've got a 6-star soul for him, so he's one I want to pull.
How many? Who do you have for mythicals before we let you go? I gotta know.
How many
you own?
I have 8 mythicals now. I've got obviously Mikage. I'm blanking on the free ones. Carnage.
Embreeze.
Sorry?
Embreeze.
Yeah, Embreeze. Yes, I've got the 3 free ones. I got Fralny very early on from a Remnant summon.
I don't have
And then
Fralny,
I've got Androck, Lazarius, Gallius, who's getting buffed. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah,
Fiorad. I got those from Primals. Because I've spent money on Primals. That's like the big thing I spend money on in the game. Because I find the Mythicals personally like really fun. And I find the faction unities a lot of fun to play with as well.
Yeah, it's just a shame that people can't get them, right? But like, I agree.
I know.
They're like, that's the irony. Unfortunately,
I'm part of the problem. Like, you know, they make
Same.
Mythicals. They're super fun, but you can't get them. And like, I'm spending money. I know it's part of the problem, right? But it sucks. If they were so much more obtainable, it would be so much better for the game, man. Like,
I know.
Anyway, yeah.
I know. I did another video. That's our next video right there. A little rant. I can sense a rant coming on. I can't just leave you with that. I gotta ask because you have a few that I don't have, right?
Okay.
So Jorad, Wolfheart, is he as bad as everybody says?
Yeah, he's been a massive disappointment. Yeah, he really has been.
That's great.
His base form is decent. Like, it's okay. But it's just really awkward. The way I see him, his second form sucks, right? The damage is just not there. His A3, the single target block revive, if they're frozen, that's actually good. But everything else sucks, right?
Yeah.
He's got multiple problems, like, because he's ignoring 100% defense on that move. You can build him without ignore defense stuff, but then his other moves suck. It means that if you do build him in like lethal and give him a Helm Smasher, it's not helping you in the A3. It's awkward. I compare him a lot to Gizmak, but Gizmak you can burn through Stone Skin. Burn lasts multiple turns. Gizmak, they've got very similar damage multipliers, but because Gizmak freeze makes you do less damage, so that nerfs Fiorad's damage. Gizmak can place decreased defense, which really helps him smack. Gizmak has like ignore defense passives, whereas Fiorad has a terrible passive. He's got a lot of problems, man. I expect he's probably gonna be really good for Faction Wars Hard because he's got a lot of control. His A2 actually really good turn meter pushback, but like for arena and most content he's pretty miserable. I use him in Fire Knight Hard just as base form, just because I'm like, I feel bad to have a mythical sit there
that you don't use.
But I'm like, I don't need him. Like I could run anybody. I have two newts. I put one newt on the bench to bring Fiorad in. And he's good, but I'm like, I don't need to.
He looks cool. That's at least he's got that going on. I will say this though, man. I say this all the time on the channel, but like, if you're gonna pull a bad mythical, it's great to pull the worst. Because if there's one thing they've shown their propensity to do, it's buff bad mythicals. Like they buffed like 7 of them or whatever, you know. So I would bet my damn YouTube channel that Jorad gets a buff in the next 3 months. You know, so in a way, I think you might be sitting on a gold mine here.
Like one I'm a little bit sad about is Androck, because his base form is amazing.
He's in no man's land. He's not going to get a buff because he's too good. He's not bad enough. You know. Yeah,
exactly. And like his alternate form, it's just not that useful, really. But I think that we've got Faction Wars Hard is going to be coming at some point, right? And I bet his alternate form is going to be insane for that. I'm like, but it's so not good everywhere else. It's got so many problems. But he's just, I bet, as you said, he's going to be too good. He's not going to get a buff, even though I think some buffs to that alternate form would really make the champ much more exciting. Yeah, because I don't know if you ever read his lore is freaking sick, man. He's one of my favorite lore.
No.
Yeah,
I like,
but Fiorad's lore sucks. Fiorad sucks, man. Terrible.
Well, I will go. I will go. You know, get a nice beverage and a cozy a seat and a snack and sit down and read some Androck the Glorious lore here. But with that, we'll let you go, man. Shout out to you and the Hell Hades website. I'll obviously have it linked in Nub's YouTube channel for all of you guys to check out. Thanks for being so generous with your time here and your insight on these Chimera beasts.
Hey, no, it's a pleasure as always being on your channel. You know, I love what you do, and thanks for having me on. It's always
Of course, man. Pleasure is all mine. And shout out to Armiger, Fireblade, Commander, Conscript, and Militia, the top 5 uncommons who we snubbed at the end of the video. Thanks for
Armiger
watching.
Particularly, I'm a fan of. He's such a good budget champ for an early game player. Yeah,
Who?
Just spam the A2, and he's like, yep.
Oh, Armiger. All right, guys. On that note, video is not complete without Armiger shout out. Thanks again for watching until the very end. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.